Hey guys, in this video, we're going to talk about what President Trump is planning to do with U.S. visa services. Guys, they are planning to cripple the services globally. Watch this video all the way until the end to get the details about the executive order that President Trump signed on February 12th that is going to have huge implications for U.S. visa services going forward. Before you leave here today, guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so that you'll be the first to get notice of these videos each week. Now let's get into it. In January, guys, the president signed an executive order which said that they are going to conduct a review of all visa programs and they will come back with changes, reforms to those visa programs. We also know that they're going through an evaluation process currently to determine which countries they should add to a travel ban list to suspend the entry into the United States of foreigners from certain countries. Fast forward to February 12th, 2025, when the president signed the One Voice for America's Foreign Relations Executive Order. In this executive order, guys, it says that foreign service officers, employees at U.S. embassies and consulates around the globe, and anyone else who is working at the State Department need to conform to the new reforms that they are going to be introducing very soon. If they do not conform to this one voice, they will be terminated. They will lose their job. Now let's get into this executive order. Section 1 says that the secretary, who is Marco Rubio, he is the secretary for the Department of State. He must maintain an exceptional workforce of patriots to implement this policy effectively. Then Section 2 says all officers or employees charged with implementing the foreign policy of the United States must, under Article 2, do so under the discretion and authority of the president. Failure to faithfully implement the president's policy is grounds for professional discipline, including separation. The personnel procedures of executive departments and agencies charged with implementing the president's foreign policy must therefore provide an effective and efficient means for ensuring that officers and employees faithfully implement the president's policies. Section 2, guys, says that if you do not conform to this one voice from the White House, you will be disciplined, including termination. You will be fired. What they're doing here is setting the stage for, obviously, layoffs of the workforce at the Department of State and U.S. embassies and consulates across the globe. Section 4 says, when the secretary concludes that a member of the Foreign Service, a civil service employee, or other staff has demonstrated performance or conduct that warrants a personnel action, the secretary shall, with respect to officials appointed by the secretary or others within the department, take appropriate action subject to the supervision of the president, and shall, with respect to officials appointed by the president, preliminarily determine whether to refer such a matter for the president's consideration. Such preliminary determination shall be made in the secretary's sole and exclusive discretion. This is a very fancy way of saying that everyone needs to line up to the president's mission, to the president's agenda, to the president's directive under this one voice. Again, one voice. It doesn't matter how many years you've been with the department. It doesn't matter how much experience you have in the field and you know your base or the country that you've been assigned to, you know it inside out. You are the best of the best in the field as it relates to foreign service or consular services. It doesn't matter what your background is or what you think. You've got to conform to the one voice that is coming from the White House. Under Section 5, guys, it also talks about the fact that they're going to be looking at all of the policy manuals and handbooks to revise them, and in some cases, potentially getting rid of them. It says, in implementing the reforms identified in this section, the Secretary shall revise or replace the Foreign Affairs Manual and direct subordinate agencies to remove, amend, or replace any handbooks, procedures, or guidance. This is serious. Let's take a little step back. The Foreign Affairs Manual, friends, it is a comprehensive and authoritative source for the department's organization, structures, policies, and procedures that govern the operations of the State Department, the Foreign Service, and other federal agencies. It's typically called the FAM, okay, FAM for short, and it governs everything. It covers personnel issues, it covers consular affairs, it covers visas, guys, how they issue visas, what things they should consider when they're issuing visas, who gets a visa, who does not get a visa. Everything related to visa issuance process is outlined in this manual. This manual also covers everything else related to the Department of State, including its programs, its practices, logistics, diplomatic, security, legal, and political affairs, everything. This executive order, friends, say that the White House will be revising or replace the Foreign Affairs Manual. They're about to revamp everything. They're going to change it up on everyone. What I'm really concerned about, obviously, is the fact that it's very easy for them to look at a budget and a line item and say, we're going to get rid of this line item, and this particular line item happens to be staffing at U.S. embassies and consulates worldwide, and say, oh, we don't need so many people at the Manila Post. We don't need X amount of people in Kingston, Jamaica. We don't need X amount of people in London, England. We don't need X amount of people in Lagos, Nigeria. And so let's just get rid of some of them. Let's get rid of those contractors. Let's cancel these contracts. This is excessive. This is duplicative. This is a waste of taxpayer dollars. And what that effectively will do is it will shrink the workforce to a skeletal crew at these embassies and consulates around the globe. And this is how it will impact millions of people by creating a massive slowdown of visa services. They know in the White House that they only have so much control over the eligibility of an individual as it relates to getting that immigrant visa to come to the United States and join the spouse, the US citizen or green card holder spouse or parent or child. They know they don't have that much control over who is eligible because Congress already wrote those rules, those laws. But they know that they have control over the administration and the operation of all of those things. And those are the areas that they can tweak by removing bodies to slow down the entire process and therefore have millions of people caught up in a backlog over the next 4 years. That's how they're going to do it, guys. What this means for you is that if your visa has expired, try to move swiftly. Certainly for others, we will be suing the government. There will be more lawsuits to move people out of these backlogs that are expected to happen over the next 4 years. There's a process called mandamus, which would allow you to sue the government for the unreasonable delay of your case. More people will be gearing up to do things like that. And certainly there will be litigation to fight against the travel bans that we're expecting to be announced any day now. Guys, this is not great news, but you should be informed, you should be equipped, and you should move swiftly on your case if you have a consular case. Thanks so much for watching this video. Comment below and let me know your thoughts, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.